ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Welcome into the Tuesday, February 7th edition. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Coming up this hour, we're going to hear from Marshall women's basketball coach Tony Kluemper, get his thoughts on the upcoming match against Coastal Carolina. We'll also go over the day's news. We'll get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. But I've got a couple of special guests that are in studio, and we want to start with them. First of all, I got to welcome back. I haven't talked to him in a long time, and usually it's about football, but not today. The newer title here, right? It's been a while since we've had you on. The Associate Athletic Director for Development, Teddy Kluemper, is back in the studio. How are you, sir? It's been a while. Great. We haven't done this. And usually it's either about the Browns versus the Bengals or something like that.
Or the Guardians versus the Reds.
Right.
So, and I got my referee here today.
You have a referee here, so you needed to even the odds a little bit. So joining us on the program, the last time we heard from him, it was his introductory press conference. New Marshall baseball coach, Greg Beals. Coach, good talking to you again. It was fun the first time, and looking forward to it today.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be on with you.
The baseball program's been a little busy since you've been here. We've got actual construction going on, which has been a sight to see. Are you just more of an observer, like, okay, that's looking great? How much have you been involved with that since you've been here, as far as maybe, I don't know, do you tell them, okay, put that over there, put this here, hands-on, or are you just sitting back waiting and enjoying?
Well, there's a couple different pieces of that, and I go out and visit the site, a couple times a week at least, and Kemp, the superintendent out there, I don't need to tell him anything. He knows exactly what he's doing with the project and the site out there. I have been in some meetings, though, talking about how we're going to design our building out in beyond the left field fence where our locker room and our batting cages are going to be, so it's been fun putting those pieces together. Is that
really something that excites you the most? Not just coaching baseball, but getting to rebirth. I mean, it's not rebuilding; it's actually rebirthing a baseball program.
Well, that certainly was an attraction here, and the Huntington and Marshall community. There's a passion for baseball here, and I know that from my time in Ohio, in the Southern Ohio, and I think it's even stronger on this side of the river. And now it's a part of us building something, and it's the old if you build it, they will come. That idea for the Field of Dreams, and I'm not trying to piggyback that too much, but there's an idea there that we're looking to attract a community here. More importantly for me, trying to attract elite student athletes to come to Marshall University.
Now, you've had to hit the ground running. Obviously, you come in and you've got to get ready to go play now. And so what has that process been like for you? Has it been accelerated in some ways? How are you approaching that, trying to hit the ground running, birth this baseball program, and make sure that you're competitive for this season?
Yeah, well, accelerated is at least a good word to use. And, you mentioned about the excitement for me in the program. I think the first and most exciting thing is the opportunity that's ahead of us right now, starting on February 17th, and the opportunity of this 2023 team. And we have some special young men in our program, and I'm locked in on those guys. That's my number one responsibility, is making sure that this team is ready to compete. So we've had to do a lot of work, and our guys have been very, very hungry, very, very attentive. And we need to understand that they've been through a transition as well in the program. So really is developing relationships with our guys, developing that trust from top to bottom, not just them trusting me trusting them trusting each other, and also, more importantly, them trusting their own abilities and trying to teach the guys. And, something I really believe in is tapping in the competitor, tapping in the dude is kind of the word I used to say with our players. And so I got to get to know them and develop that relationship so I know how to tap into them come season time, and we're not far away.
Joining us on the program, Marshall's new baseball coach, Greg Beals, and I also have Teddy Kluemper in here from Big Green. And Teddy, this is something that the Big Green does in hand with the athletic department, trying to make sure that this guy has all the resources he possibly needs, and maybe things that he doesn't know he needs just yet. And I know it never stops for the Big Green. So catch me up. What's going on now that maybe people need to know about, and then what's upcoming that we need to be starting to be aware of?
Well, he makes it easy, doesn't he? You spend 5-10 minutes around him, it's easy to get excited about baseball. I think that for us in the Big Green, we're excited about getting fans of the men's and the women's team to Pensacola. Flooding that venue and seeing if we can come home with a couple of championships, and then we really start to zero in on the spring sports. I'm really looking forward to this series, the baseball series that he's going to have with his team in Charleston. We'll have a slew of events, but the capital campaign's coming down the pipe, and it's going to be very aggressive and very comprehensive, and we're excited. And the baseball stadium is going to be, in the crown jewel of that. We know that there's been some start and stops, and we know that this has been a bone of contention with a lot of people for a long time, well deserved. But I think that as he said, Coach Beals said that he's over there once or twice a week. The proof is kind of in the pudding, and it's starting to really resemble things. And you'll start seeing some links to be able to go on and monitor the progress, and then we'll have some stuff out on how people can really get behind it. And I had the ability to spend some time with Coach Beals on his interview here, and one of the things I said was this community will support a baseball stadium. Baseball is beloved in this community, so I'm looking forward to seeing the excitement.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've suggested a webcam just 24/7 following this. Is that happening?
That link is out, and I knew you were going to ask me that, and
okay.
I think it's on the Big Green's Facebook page. So now everyone in the office that's going to laugh at me because not only did I not know where it is, but I sent people in the wrong way. But I'll make sure that it's there. But yeah, Tyler Ferris in our office has got that up and running, and you can see the progress. It's out. It's out there.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I'll get you a link, and you can correct me errors and omissions if I'm wrong.
I would never correct you. I'll just redirect people.
There you
How's
go.
that?
Great.
And of course, Coach, as someone who is trying to, and again, we use that term rebirth a baseball program, but really it's not just that. It's to maybe get fans to rediscover their passion, give them something to be passionate. Is that a part of the job that you really like? Because you're a coach, you're a mentor, you're almost like a second project manager with the baseball park, and you have to go out and talk to people as well. What have you found when you've gone out and talked to people about this project? How receptive have they been? Have you birthed a new fan or two? Getting them excited for this, finding support.
Yeah, people are excited about it, and when you get on that cam and you're able to look at it, and when I go to the site, if you use your baseball eyes, you can see the third base dugout. You can see the foundation for the third base dugout. We're now down the third base line and into the left field bullpen, and you're starting to see the foundation to the backstop. And there's a lot of things happening that you can start putting a vision to. More importantly for me, though, Paul, is when I go out is for me to be me and to show my passion. And my passion for the game of baseball and my passion for my job and student athletes, and how exciting a facility like this means and what it means to those student athletes, to our athletic department, and ultimately to our community.
My guest, Teddy Kluemper, joining us from the Big Green, and Greg Beals, Marshall's new baseball coach. We're going to take our first break, come back. We're going to talk more with these two, and we'll take some of your texts as well. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Tuesday, February 7th edition, The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We have a couple of special guests in the studio today. First of all, always a pleasure to have Teddy Kluemper from the Big Green join us, and it's even pleasant to talk to you this time since we're not talking about our favorite subject, Bengals-Browns, so we'll keep it that way today. It's sort of a détente today.
We could start Guardians Reds.
Okay,
go very well
maybe we'll see. We'll see. And of course, our esteemed guest today, Marshall baseball coach Greg Beals, and Teddy's here to help us kind of find out how you can support baseball, since there are a lot of avenues maybe fans don't know about just yet, or a lot of projects that are still to come. So, if we're going to help baseball become bigger and better, what do fans need to know, and where can they just hand you money?
Well, coach can obviously add to it, but I think the biggest thing is getting out and supporting the team. Whether they're at the Kennedy Center, whether they're in Charleston, or whether they want to travel. I mean, the Sun Belt has amazing baseball teams. Coastal Carolina's won a national championship. You've got multiple teams that have been in the regionals, super regionals. So there will be no lack of entertainment. And I think the games that will be played in Charleston are pretty entertaining. Ohio State, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, and we'll have great crowds. So show up, buy tickets, and then we kind of talked last session about the baseball stadium. It'll be part of our capital campaign, which we'll have announcements on that pretty soon. But again, I reiterate what I said to you before, and this community has long wanted to support a baseball stadium. It's evident by the early fundraising. It's evident by the gifts that Christian and Brad Smith have secured, and we'll be ready. We'll be back on in a couple of weeks and maybe tell you all about.
Okay. It's an open invite, and of course, Coach, about that schedule, you're going to have it for 1 year. You're going to be playing at multiple locations. I'm sure that's unique to your career. You've never probably played your home games all on the road before. What excites you the most about this schedule? Because there are some challenging teams. There are some really exciting matchups, and you get to play in a pro stadium like the new Go-Mart Stadium. I got to remember that, Teddy. They're the Charleston Dirty Birds, the Go-Mart Stadium. Everything's changed, but that's always been maybe a hindrance to the Marshall. You're never having a true home game. So how do you turn this final go-around into something that's maybe an asset for you, or something that's actually fun for fans, knowing that in a year we're going to be in a home stadium that you can call yours?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we're going to play primarily our Sun Belt Conference games in Charleston. We've got some feature games, Ohio State. I'm really excited about playing West Virginia there and that in-state rivalry. We also have Virginia Tech over there in Charleston as well. And I'm really pleased with our administration and the effort that they've had to facilitate that happening, to give our guys the best experience they can have, and then we'll have a portion of our home games also played here at the Kennedy Center here in town, and that is our home. That's where we practice. That's where we go every day, and all of us signed up for that. And it is our home, and we got to make sure that we defend our home and we're ready to play on those games.
Is there anything that maybe you can talk to about the experience for the student athlete? It might not have been the best in the past. That was then, this is now. And so moving forward, what are you trying to do? What's the administration trying to do to really give them a great experience as not only athletes, but student athletes?
Well, I can't speak to the past too much. I'm going to speak to what I'm going to do and what this administration has already started doing, and we're going to continue to do, and that is to provide the very best for our student athletes, not just in baseball, but for all of our sports. And the facility is a huge part of that, so that these guys have a home and a locker room and batting cages and a place where they can hang out and spend their time. And that's going to be a really huge part to this. And I think the biggest thing is tying this into something bigger than themselves for our student athletes, for our players, and that they're going to play for Marshall University. They're going to play for the city of Huntington in a new ballpark here real soon. So that's the thing I want, is I want the community to come out and support, so that our guys feel that sense of being a part of something, that sense of people do care about what they're doing. That just ups the ante for them, and that is the student-athlete experience. Winning is important. I like to win, and then winning, the big part of winning is it justifies the work that we do. We spend a lot of time. These guys work hard, and they've worked hard in the past, and we're going to continue to work hard. And winning just helps justify that work that they've done.
My guest on the program, new Marshall baseball coach Greg Beals, Teddy Kluemper from the Big Green. And Teddy, the experience, the student-athlete experience, very important and that's basically your mission, to make the student-athlete experience the very best it can be. And I'm just going to quite candidly ask you, you've been here for a long time. What's happening now that you like, that maybe you haven't been able to do before, that it seems that now you're able to do, or these are the new directions that you've been able to go into?
I'll kind of echo what Coach said. I won't look too far in the past. We in the 12 years that I've been privileged to be here, we've done some really good things that I'm proud of, and we were able to accomplish a lot as a group. Christian Spears has come in as new AD, and he has the support of Brad Smith, which I challenge anyone to find a president AD combo that we have here. And I sometimes think that people may not realize how incredibly lucky we are. And regardless of where we travel, especially when we talk to our peers in the Big Green, we're very fortunate. And we talk about the student-athlete experience. Coach Beals has got Andrew Brown as his administrator, and anyone familiar with Marshall knows that Andrew Brown's one of the hardest-working men on campus. So he's got it set up, and our student-athlete experience has been an initiative and an important part of what Christian's agenda, for lack of better words, has been pushing since day one. And I think that if you ask any student-athlete, they'll tell you that they're cared about, that they're loved, and that they're supported. People ask all the time, what does Big Green do for the student athlete? We obviously raise the money, to provide scholarships. That's important, but I don't think a lot of people realize too that every single fundraising dollar, whether it's a capital project, whether it's a contribution to a sports-specific championship fund, whether it's an endowment, whether it's to pay the seat cost of, or a donation for chairbacks, regardless of what it is, if it's an athletic contribution, it touches our office, which is pretty incredible because we do really good work and we have a small and dedicated staff.
My guest, the new coach of Marshall baseball, Greg Beals, Teddy Kluemper from the Big Green. So say I'm a fan right now. I want to come to these games. I want to come to Route 2. That's real easy for local Huntington fans. Maybe traveling to Charleston, that's going to take a little bit more. What are you doing, or what are you trying to do to maybe entice people a year out from a new ballpark to maybe come up to Charleston, catch the herd? I know it's an hour away. So for a lot of people, maybe, okay, getting off work, I don't want to make that trip back. What are you trying to do to maybe make that experience even better for them? Give them an opportunity to really want to come up and support you this year, because, there's nothing, more disheartening than going out seeing an empty stadium. Even though it's your temporary home, but if you have a whole bunch of fans there, I'm sure that's going to help you as a coach. It's going to help you as a fundraiser for the Big Green. It's going to help the student athletes as well.
Yeah, well, our support staff has already started digging in on that and the things that we can do, from a marketing, promotions, and a game day experience for our fans. That's something that's important to us, that we're providing a game day experience for our fans. And they're already working with the people over at the Dirty Birds organization to piggyback and use some of their ideas, use some of our ideas, and put together a game day experience that is going to be well worth the hour drive over there. I'm spending every day with a group of young men to make sure that the product on the field is going to be exciting as well. And I promise you one thing: you've got 35 young men wearing green that are going to play their tails off for Marshall University.
Anything to add on that, Teddy? Because, again, when you think about fan experiences, the Big Green has a big part of that as well. Upcoming, we've got the tournament. Hopefully Marshall's going to be a top 4 seed in both the men's side, and the women are moving up right now. Teddy, with Tony Kemper's 5-game win streak now.
The women are playing really well.
Yeah, they're really well right now.
And they have a lot of, if I heard and understand correctly, most of the games in front of them, they come out on the right side of it, they could really make a move. And Tony's awesome. And I say that, people would say, oh, that's just a homer statement. Tony Kemper's a good man, a good coach. Our marketing.
I agree. New guy in town. I like him.
I'm a huge fan of Tony Kemper also, except last Sunday during the AFC Championship. Other than that.
How'd that work out?
It didn't work out well. Coach let me off the hook. And I was at his presser. He let me off the hook.
I know. I'm baiting you.
I know you are. We're not going there.
Okay.
We're not going there.
Our marketing team, Ryan, Rodney, Grant, Sydney, they'll make sure that there isn't a way anyone interested to know where we're playing, what time we're playing, and how to get tickets. That marketing group and the folks in the ticket office will make sure that part is well communicated. I'll touch on that and then go back to Pensacola. We'll have always funnel folks to our social media, Big Green, Facebook page, Twitter. We'll have events, when they're in Charleston, come by pregame tailgates, and we'll do that in Pensacola as well too. So as again, hopefully bringing home 2 championships for the men and the women, and we'll get down there. A couple of us went on a site visit, and it's an interesting venue. It'll be taking a hockey arena and turning it into a basketball arena, but I think it's pretty cool, and I think that early indications, at least on my part, or at least from what I'm hearing from our constituents, is we'll be well represented, as we always are. I mean, the folks in the conference, the Sun Belt, they're blown away by the way we travel. I mean, that was pretty evident in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and it'll be evident throughout.
Coach, you can't travel to Pensacola, unfortunately, right?
I'm going to be busy.
Yeah, you're going to be.
I'll be watching, though.
Slightly busy.
I like basketball, and both of our teams are fun to watch.
Okay. So talk to me about this relationship with Coach Kemper. You're already a big fan of his. Have you two been talking a lot, hanging out a lot?
No, we've been busy.
We've been busy. Okay.
Yeah, he came to the social before the press conference, so I met him there. My wife played basketball in college.
Okay.
Just we're basketball fans, and just watching games, just respect what he's doing and like his personality, and enjoyed meeting him and look forward to getting to know him more.
Good seats at the games, though, right, Teddy? You got good seats here.
I think we take care of everybody.
Okay.
Everybody's got good seats.
I hope so.
There's not a bad seat in the arena now.
No, there's not. I don't want to say that tarping off and cutting your capacity is always a good idea, but in this case, I think it's been fantastic because it's really created a greater atmosphere. And, let's be honest, you get all those fans down in that lower bowl. I mean, it feels exciting.
I can't remember specifically what the question was, but I'll go back to things that we're doing that we haven't done before. Again, one of the other big things on Christian's agenda, and there are many things on Christian's agenda. You've had him in here. Mm-hmm. Everybody who's met him knows how he runs. But enhancing the game day experience is something that we've all, as a group, worked for. And alcohol sales in the arena has been a question that we've pondered for a really long time. And I for one, thought there would be benefit, and everybody else did too. So, again, that's why tarping that up there. If you don't have handrails, that just bad situation. But the turnout has been great. We've been filling the seats, and again, like you said, pushing everybody down in the lower bowl. It creates a home field experience that or a home field advantage that you don't get in other places. And again, I said it about the way we travel. When we talk to our peers in the conference, man, that was a tough place to play, or man, that was a great atmosphere, or hey, what you guys do is great. So certainly coming into a new conference, we feel pretty good about how things are going.
My guest, Marshall baseball coach Greg Beals from the Big Green, Teddy Kluemper. Before we let you go, anything we missed maybe you want to touch on? The floor is yours.
No, I think, again, we do a lot. Our office does, and we'll do everything we can we look forward to doing everything we can to support our coaches and our student athletes. And, we host events, and we'll have, like I said, some major news coming on the campaign, how to support it, some different things. We've got some really smart people in our office, a lot smarter than me, that are working on some really cool things.
Okay, 2 weeks from now, right? Not exactly, but in a couple of weeks.
Maybe after we bring these 2 championship trophies home, and
okay,
after that runs, that ride's gone, then we can talk more about it.
Fair. That's fair enough. The floor is always yours, always an open invite. You know that. I appreciate you coming in and bringing him in today, Coach.
Yeah, I followed him here.
Yeah, he's so hard to get in here because he thinks
he's hard to keep up with on the roads.
I believe it. The other day he was like, I'm not interesting, and that's completely false. He is a fascinating, interesting human being, and he's got a lot to say.
Well, I appreciate that. He makes it easy. Coach Beals does. All our coaches. I say this all the time. Coach Beals, Coach Smith, Coach Huff, I forget the name, Christian, Brad. We were all at the Capitol last week. I think I got everybody right. Oh, yeah. Coach Grassi. And there was a really cool picture that was taken. I'm not sure if you saw it. It was posted on the university's social media. And as I sat there and looked at it, I was there and I watched the picture taken. People don't realize how good our coaches are. Quality individuals, quality humans, care about the kids, from top to bottom, we have great people in charge of our programs. We have national championship coaches, we have postseason championship coaches. Coach Huff's gearing up. Spring game weekend will be at the end of April. So Coach Smith, she just had her green and white scrimmage last weekend, I believe. Yeah, so she's obviously getting started too with Coach Beals. We have great, great coaches.
We'll have you back soon, both of you. Good luck this season, Coach. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
When we continue, we'll hear from Tony Kluemper, the head coach of the Marshall women's basketball team. That's coming up next on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the February 7th edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Still to come, we will get you caught up on everything that's happening today. We got some news coming out of Marshall soccer. Some good news for Tavion Kinsey. Always good news when it involves Tavion Kinsey. And musical chairs in the coaching world. Once again, we're going to follow where Lance Guidry is going to end up. You're saying to yourself, well, he's at Tulane. Well, that was accurate. So all of that's still to come. I'm going to get you caught up now on what happened with women's basketball earlier today as I was over at the weekly presser with Coach Kluemper. Coming up this week, a couple of big games. I think all of them at this point in the season are big games, but Coastal Carolina, opportunity for the Thundering Herd to continue the win streak for one, and also see how far it's come in a rematch with Coastal Carolina. And so when I spoke with Coach Kluemper earlier today, he told us a little bit more about what we can expect coming up on Thursday.
I feel like Coastal Carolina played us. They really got after us down there. I don't think that we had a very good performance. I thought they were very physical. They did a great job of getting the ball to where they wanted to. I really thought they controlled the game from the tip. So we're going to have to be much better on Thursday at 11 a.m. If we want to feel good about the Coastal game.
Yes, 11 a.m. It's going to be an early game, so there's going to be a huge youth contingency there at the Henderson Center. So when talking to him, I was curious of what's the focus this week? What are you working on? What are you trying to tell your team this week? As now you've picked things up. You're on this 5-game win streak. You're moving up the standings, and coach, one game at a time. When you ask that question, it's always probably going to be one game at a time.
You try to just win one game at a time. So right now it's Coastal Carolina, and both teams have a little bit of film from the last game, so we definitely have got to go back and have a look at it. We've got to be got a really good post player, Asia Blunt. I think it starts from there. That we've got to do a better job on her than we did the first game, and then we couldn't guard the ball the first game. So I don't know if that's that was our lack of defense or that's a tough matchup for us, but we have to guard the ball better. So across the board, I think our post play has got to be better from a defensive perspective, and so does our guard play. So, we play well when we guard, and so I think it always starts there for us. And so we're kind of looking at that, and yet I know that they're going to try to make some adjustments too.
Tony Kluemper on the focus of this week. It's one game at a time. And one of the things that will be targeted, limiting turnovers. That's always important, but you have to be even better at it when you face a team like Coastal Carolina. Coach explained.
Yeah, I think it's always important for us. We always try to be a low turnover team. And I think that's something that this team has improved on through the course of the year. We handle pressure a little bit better than we did. Every team has its spurts where you kind of get sped up, but generally speaking, I think our organization and our ball security has gotten better, but it's important every game, and it's not going to be any different Thursday, Saturday this week. So we'll have to do a good job of taking care of the ball. We've got to get it to spots that we like, to create advantage for us, and that's always a difficult thing to do. They'll be trying to keep us away from that. They'll be trying to force us into shots we don't like. And so, I think ball security and shot selection is always important.
Coach Kemper on ball security is going to be key in this one's coming up on Thursday. Now, one thing that we've talked about with Coach Kemper has been comebacks. Comebacks. This team, when gets down, will find a way to make an epic comeback. And early on in the season, those comebacks were falling a little short. Now, Marshall's winning those games with those comebacks. And Coach talked about those comebacks. Players don't panic. Coach explained sometimes, at least in the couple of the first huddles, he might be panicking just a little bit.
I think obviously they don't panic about what they have going on. I do. I definitely panic on them in the first couple huddles. But I think they obviously, at some point in games, they do kind of level off and I don't know if it's they're too amped up, they're not amped up. I don't know what the beginning is. I do kind of look at it right now like sometimes I feel like free throws, it becomes a mental thing, right? And sometimes I think there's a fine line between, I think we have good players, we have to start better. I don't know that I can just continue to dwell on it to get it any better. Like eventually you got to get your chin up, you got to stop worrying about that, you got to go compete, and somebody's got to stick a couple shots, you got to get a couple rebounds, and here we go. But I think that we have made some good comebacks. There's not a person that watches us that don't think we need to start better, and we're trying to do that. But sometimes I also think that I'm kind of at the point now where I want to stop talking about it because it's not me talking about it hasn't helped either. So we've got to get over that. We've got to find a way through that.
He also was probably quite honest with us. These things are stressful. His blood pressure definitely, it's okay, but these things are stressful when his team does this. Gets down and then has to orchestrate the comeback.
I'm usually so frustrated by the way we start that my blood pressure's fine by the time it gets around and gets close. It's I've gone through the wave of emotions, and now we can just watch basketball and coach it. So I like their resiliency. We have been big. We're clearly resilient in small game situations. I also know this team was resilient in big picture situations too. We won our first 2 games. We got in a stretch which included the Coastal Carolina trip where we didn't have results. And they were resilient through that too. So you hope you teach some life skills every once in a while. They've learned that. So I do appreciate that from them. We will need it again down the stretch. We play some fantastic teams down the stretch, and I think that starts this week. It will continue through Pensacola. So hopefully we've grown and we can have some good results.
Tony Kemper on this week's matchup, Coastal Carolina coming up first at the Cam Henderson Center. We will update you on the news of the day when we continue on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition, The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It is February 7th, 1 week away from Valentine's Day. I hope you're ready. I hope you are ready. Let's get you caught up on everything that's taking place today. There are a few interesting items that are going on. First of all, once again, Tavion Kinsey getting the due that man deserves. He was named a top 10 candidate for the 2023 Jerry West Award today. The Columbus, Ohio native has already earned Sunbelt Men's Basketball Player of the Week 3 times this season. He's third in the nation in points and second in field goals. He also has had games in which he has had 20 or more points 15 times this season. So that'd be a huge honor for him if he could win the... And I'm telling you, Jerry West was, and always shall be one of the greatest basketball players to ever do it and had a tremendous career in West Virginia and then, of course, in the NBA. The logo. Say no more, the logo. So I'm sure that's a huge deal for Tavion. So congratulations for him to make the top 10. It's always fun to be acknowledged for your work. Also today, it seems that Tulane defensive coordinator Lance Guidry wasn't so settled at Tulane because now he's going to be the next defensive coordinator at Miami. I mean, he was there for, a couple of weeks, give or take, at Tulane. So, of course, Marshall had a tremendous defense. We'll hopefully hear soon the candidate or candidates that are finalists, or we'll find out who's got the job for defensive coordinator at Marshall University. So Lance Guidry leaving. It's a $500,000 buyout. I'm sure Miami's got that. No problem there. Soccer. The spring schedule is out for the spring league, and Marshall will play out of spring league game against Rio. So Rio Grande. That's on March 4th. And then Marshall's got, and this is all in the Columbus Crew Spring League after the Rio Grande match. Marshall will face off against Xavier in Huntington, then at Ohio State, at Louisville, and then the finals, April 15th at Columbus Crew Stadium. No date on that yet. I'm sorry, no time on that yet. Marshall's the reigning and defending champion of the Spring League. Coach likes the spring soccer. He likes the spring ball. Maybe that's going to be more of a push here over the next few years if things like this are successful to really have that. So we'll see. Marshall likes playing for trophies. Didn't win the national championship this year, but it's always good to go out and compete for a trophy to win a trophy. So Marshall likes playing for hardware. Marshall likes winning. And so we'll get Coach Grassi on here soon to talk about the spring schedule. He's definitely excited about things like this. Again, this is the kind of guy that he could have won the conference tournament championship and he'd still be in the back of his head perturbed that he didn't win the regular season championship. Not detrimental, but perturbed. He would be a little annoyed that, okay, I didn't get it done in the regular season. That's the kind of coach I love. Just a guy that could win it, could get into the NCAA tournament and still be perturbed that, okay, fell short winning the conference championship. The regular season crown. He really values that a lot more than some do. For a lot of people, okay, get into the conference tournament, win the tournament, get to the NCAA tournament, success. For Coach Grassi, it's, I want to win the regular season. Then I want to go win the tournament. Then I want to go and win the national championship. In that order. And if he could win two, he could win two. He could win the national championship and he could win the conference tournament and still be annoyed that didn't win the regular season. Or he could win the regular season and the national championship, he'd be annoyed that he didn't win the conference tournament. Or could not win the regular season, fall short in the tournament, get an at-large bid, win the national championship, and be annoyed that he didn't win the conference tournament or the regular season. That's why I am a huge fan of Chris Grassi. Those things perturb him because he always wants to go out and win, and he does believe in the value of the season. The season means something, so I appreciate that about him. Don't forget, if you missed anything today or you want to go back and catch a past episode, you can be a follower of our podcast. We offer that on all the major podcast platforms. That's Apple, that's Spotify, Stitcher, whatever service you use. If you don't use the main services, you use something different because you like it, we're there. And if we're not, tell them to put us there. Usually you can find us, so we're there. We're where you get your podcast, and I appreciate anyone who would go and become a follower. And that means it'll come to you. It'll be delivered to your device as soon as you open up your podcast app, whatever that may be. The new episode that's posted will come to you, and you can listen to it on demand. So I appreciate everyone who does that if you can't listen live. And, of course, if you'd like to listen live and you don't have your radio with you, don't forget, check out our app on the App Store. You can get the link also on our website at wrvc.com. That's going to do it for this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I want to thank my guest, Teddy Kluemper, the Associate Athletic Director for Development, Marshall University. Also, Marshall baseball coach Greg Beals. I appreciate him stopping by today and talking a little baseball with us. We'll get more into the season as we actually get into the season with him, so I'm looking forward to it. That's going to do it. Thanks for tuning in to ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.